Hey guys, it's me, Kevin. I'm back to tipping videos. But wait, just before I go on to that, I know in my ladder predictions I put Geelong 10th and North 8. Well, I'll swap the two around because Geelong, they've got still quite a bit of talent on their list, like Dangerfield, Selwood, those players, Ablett. And I feel North Melbourne are still a little bit inexperienced, so I do think Geelong, and besides, Geelong have also got a good fortress at the Cattery, so I do think Geelong will scrape into the 8 whilst North Melbourne will miss it. So yeah, there's a position swap there. Okay, so the 2019 AFL season is coming up, so let's get started on the tips. To start off the year, we head to the MCG on Thursday night as usual, where Carlton play Richmond. Carlton coming off a wooden spoon, Richmond coming off a minor premiership, and a shocking preliminary final defeat to Collingwood. So, who do you obviously tip? Richmond. They've also been dominant against Carlton as of recent. They've won the past 5 season openers or something like that. Something along those lines. Carlton did show some promise in the JLT, and I think they may show some improvement across the year, but I think Richmond, they'll prove way too strong, and I think it'll be a big Richmond dropping, considering after the JLT form they had as well. Friday night, Collingwood v Geelong at the MCG. Well, I'm tipping Collingwood because Geelong, they've been a bit disappointing. They had an average JLT performance, and their 2018 season, it was up and down all year, and well, against Melbourne, that elimination final showed how much they're lacking. Look, I think both sides will be in contention for the top 8, will be in the top 8, but in my opinion, let's go back to round 1 here. Collingwood, grand finalists from last year, we're wanting to have a really good season, try and win the premiership, which is why I think Collingwood will win. It's also at the MCG, they play very well there, so yeah, Collingwood. Saturday afternoon, also at the MCG, so the first 3 games are at the MCG. Melbourne v Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide aren't that great at the MCG as of recent. Meanwhile, Melbourne, talented side, made the preliminary final last year. Conversely, Port Adelaide missed finals, and they've lost 6 out of their last 7 games from last season. Melbourne, again, they got their season cut short by West Coast. In that case, it was a big 72-point dropping, or whatever it was. Melbourne will want to go a step further, go all the way this season, and I feel that they'll be thinking that they have to start off well. So that's why I'm putting Melbourne. And obviously it's at the MCG, so Melbourne play well there. So yeah. Also on Saturday afternoon, Adelaide v Hawthorn at Adelaide Oval. Hawthorn, their midfield, not sure what will happen without Tom Mitchell, and they've got some of their recruits like Tom Scully and Chad Wingard out. I don't know, Hawthorn, I don't think they have good depth across the field. Adelaide, meanwhile, they've pretty much gotten most of their players back. They should be a full-strength side this year, and I think if they are a full-strength side, demonstrated through the way they played in the JLT, then I think if Adelaide have their full side, then they're a very, very dangerous side. And it's at Adelaide Oval, they play well there, so I think Adelaide will get their season started with a win against Hawthorn. Saturday night at Marvel Stadium, Western Bulldogs versus Sydney. I'll give Sydney the benefit of the doubt here, because the Bulldogs, I don't think they're going anywhere this year. I don't know. Losing Luke Dalhouse wasn't anything good, and other players as well. I can't see anything happening with the Bulldogs this year. They're just really lackluster. Sydney, I feel they'll be average this year. However, surely I think the Sydney can beat the Bulldogs in the first round. Because if not, there'll be some serious problems. Sydney, they're still a relatively talented side. They were still finals from last year, but I don't know, I'm just wary about Sydney, but I'll tip them anyway for this match. Saturday night, Brisbane versus West Coast at the Gabba. I feel it'll be closer than you think. Actually, it's the top two teams from the JLT. Top two teams from the JLT. How about we make the JLT Grand Final? No, I was actually having a suggestion. Whoever wins that match should actually also get the JLT Cup. I don't know. That's just a suggestion. But anyway, like West Coast as the reigning premier, surely they should get their season started with a win. I honestly don't think West Coast find it as easy to beat Brisbane as they did in round 23 or other times they play Brisbane. I feel that Brisbane, because they're showing quite a bit of improvement in my opinion. I mean, look at their JLT form, Brisbane. I think Brisbane's going to be one of the teams on the rise this year, but I think West Coast will still be able to edge out Brisbane at the Gabba, because obviously they're the reigning premiers, and surely the reigning premiers should start their season with a win. Also, I'm predicting West Coast to go in the top 3 again this year, so I'm tipping West Coast. One thing that will go to the advantage of Brisbane is that it's played at the Gabba. Okay, so Sunday afternoon at Marvel Stadium, St Kilda versus Gold Coast. I think we're putting the wooden spoon clash at the first game of the season, weirdly. That's my prediction. But I'm putting St Kilda only because it's at Marvel Stadium. And, yeah, Gold Coast are playing shocking. Yeah, that's the one reason. It's at Marvel. If it was at Metricon, I'd put Gold Coast. But it's at Marvel. Nothing else to say about this. Two polarised games next on Sunday afternoon. One of them is GWS versus Essendon Spotless. That's the dividing difference between me putting GWS and putting Essendon. Yes, I put GWS. Yeah, I know they lost Dylan Shield, but they've got a really good midfield still. They're a pretty good side. So are Essendon, but Essendon, they would also be going into the game thinking, okay, we've got to start off well, because the last 2 years they haven't exactly started off at their best. So they'll be wanting to go in starting off well. I think it'll be a very, very close match, 1 goal difference or less. But I do think GWS, being that it's played at Spotless Stadium, I think GWS will just edge it out there. And lastly, Sunday afternoon at Optus Stadium, Fremantle versus North Melbourne. A lot of people put Fremantle, and a lot of people think it's going to be a close game. Bold call. But I'm making another one. I think North Melbourne, not obliterate, but I think North Melbourne will defeat Fremantle by a fair margin. Reason is, Fremantle, well, bloody Hogan's suspended. What the hell's going on there? I don't know, they're just not... Their JLT performance was shocking. It just showed how bad they are. I'm not keen on Freo this year, to be fair with you. North Melbourne, on the other hand, I almost had him in my 8, but then I pushed him out at the last minute. I think North Melbourne, because they also beat him last year at Optus Stadium, so they could do it again this year. And Fremantle never start off their season well anyway. Well, they never play well, but I mean, their first round is always a shocker. And North Melbourne, apart from their defence, there aren't too much injuries there. I don't know. I just feel that North Melbourne are going to be far too strong for Freo. That's just my opinion. Anyway, so to recap my tips, I'm tipping Richmond, Collingwood, Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney, West Coast, St Kilda, GWS, and North Melbourne. Hope you like the tips, and I'll see you next week. Bye.